Allow me to introduce you heathens to the Zero Wallets plan. What it pretty much comes down to is there's a game that we're working on that we could finish the other 20 characters or so, but I feel like we should just hold them on the back burner for DLC at a later time. That way we can get more money off you mongrels at a later date. Doesn't that sound glorious? And with that cringy little bit of intro out of the way, kind of the hint about what we're talking about, hey, it's Koopa with, once again, your boy on the back burner of Skype. RTB, say what's up.
Hello, everybody.
So, what we're kind of taking the time to talk to you today, this is just, I guess you could call it, like, half a podcast, half a Koopa filler arc. I don't really know what to call this one, because it's kind of a bit of both. It's just more addressing something that me and RTB have gained knowledge from via Jim Sterling, so I guess it's more a follow-up of his video and the go down with what's going on with our boys at Arc System. So, for whatever reason, if you guys are clicking on this video and you haven't seen like the Jim Sterling point of view, which, I mean, how shouldn't you have? He's a pretty popular guy, but if you haven't, I'd suggest going to check that out if you don't want a stumbling over the words version that I'm about to do. But if you're still curious on our takes on it, then of course stick around. But so there is a game that they're making alongside Dragon Ball Z Fighters, Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I know it's one of those. It's a Dragon Ball Fighter game, and they all look pretty, and they fight for realsies, and it's not Xenoverse 2, even though that's looking like to be the better game now.
Yeah.
But regardless, so it's called BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, and if you guys haven't heard of it, it's pretty much the BlazBlue characters crossing with the characters from Persona, I believe, and then also Ruby, which was like this internet online kind of anime type thingy by Rooster Teeth. It's a class.
Decided the creator died to the cancer, so rip on him.
Mm-hmm. But so those three are coming together into one like just big tag battle thing, and I mean that sounds kind of awesome. I'm always like a love of crossfighter games, but they're doing something not so great. And what I mean by not so great is that there's only about 6 months to release. I think, when did I tell you the release date was?
June.
Like
Sometime in June.
Sometime in June. I think around June 5th. Now that I'm thinking about it, but it's sometime around June. But they still have months of time before that date. And according to other sources, they're actually releasing a build to some sort of like Fighters Con or whatever that actually has all the 20 initial characters done and finished, but they've went out and say, hey, there's going to be another 20 DLC characters released after the date. And I mean, at first you're thinking, oh, that's cool, extra support, but then you're thinking, wait a minute, they have time, why don't they just finish those now? Why are they holding off these characters in the back burner? Mind you, a lot of them are from, I think, what people have data mined and gathered from like their little teasers or whatever, or what they're planning on doing, is a lot of characters that have already been in their previous like entries on BlazBlue or Persona. Pretty much think of it as like, let's just take Injustice 2 for example, and let's just say how in Injustice 1 you got to play as like Zod, and just throw me some DLCs from the first one, Zatanna,
Martian Manhunter,
okay,
Shazam.
Right. So think all those guys, but you're paying for them again for Injustice 2. And they had more than plenty of time to just port them over to the second game. That's pretty much what they're doing here. And what does that mean for Arc System in general, plus their, Dragon Ball Fighter Z that we're alluding to and how we're feeling about it? Well, if they're doing something this kind of scummy with their baby, well, 1/3 of their baby, I guess you could call it that, but still the point I'm trying to get is, what else are they going to do for Dragon Ball Fighter Z? Is down the line, are they going to pull a Capcom and be like, oh, hey, here's the complete version with, like, everybody, and you can't just upgrade the old version that you bought? Let's not forget, even though we're all glamored and beautified for those who are keeping up with Dragon Ball FighterZ, you know how Beerus and Hit and Goku Black look during the fighting. Let's not forget there is a $30-something season pass with only like a handful of DLC characters that in normal standards that would only be priced at like about $20 or somewhere around that general margin.
20, 25 at the most, if anything, yeah.
But
they will throw other stuff to make it more enticing, like maybe costumes or extra stages or more modes or whatever. But it's just characters only.
And we yet to see if that comes to anything else. But it seems like they're still stuck on the whole character fiasco, and because of what Arc System's track record is kind of doing, I don't want to be Jewed out of $60 again. So I was hyped for this game myself, but I really think, and I implore you guys who are thinking about this and are now on the fence with this new information, put your money towards something else, because we don't know how they're gonna screw up FighterZ at this point. If this is the path that they're taking for, you know, BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, because you don't want to end up with, like, you know, just a half-butchered game. They're selling to you when they already have plans of, you know, adding more stuff to it, even though they could have added it to begin with. Hopefully I'm getting my point across. There was one, as I was looking up this article, there was one smart person in, like, the comment section of this article that I was reading for BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle that said, I wanted to buy this game for Ruby, not RW, or Rube, because they plan on having both Yang and Blake, 2 of the 4 as DLC, and not just have all of them together. And that's, you know, that's messed up for Ruby fans, that they're doing it that way just to get an extra buck, and they're making Capcom decisions, and it's like, didn't you guys see that we didn't like what Capcom was doing? You think that was a great suit to follow in their footsteps when even then they're paying for it with Street Fighter V?
And Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite as well.
That as well.
Mm-hmm. And let me say this, because I know people talked a lot. Let me throw my 2 cents in there as well. Basically, Arc System, they're more of a cult following kind of like developer. They're not like big, like, let's say, for example, Tall Tales or Naughty Dog. But they're at that point with Dragon Ball Z where they can be on that level. They're more of a cult following kind of like level, where, like, you know, like, for example, like people that play fighting games for a living, like, you know, Daigo, Justin Wong, or famously on YouTube, Maximilian Dude, that play fighting games for a living, know who Arc System is, but not everyone else, like the casual person like Cooper or my friend Robert. So, with Dragon Ball Z Fighters, this is their opportunity to get into the mainstream. But considering what they're doing with BlazBlue and what they potentially could do with DBZ Fighters, they might be famous but infamous. And, you know, they don't want to be known as like, oh boy, Arc System, another Konami, Capcom, EA, and Activision to join the hateful group of companies that people don't like. You don't want to be in that company. They're suffering immensely. In case in point, with Star Wars Battlefront with EA, it sold worse than the first Star Wars Battlefront. They lost $3 billion in stock. Bob Iger, the owner of Disney, himself called EA Studios to take off the loot system. It's getting so bad.
In simpler terms, guys, that's like Mickey calling them up and saying, "Hey guys, quit your shit."
Pretty much in that sense. It's like Mickey calling them. It's that level of bad. Hell, it's even the law of like Hawaii and Wales and Liverpool and Europe and Australia is looking into, like, see what they can take legal action and get this against this kind of thing, to the point where, like, if you have loot systems in your loot stuff on your games will be banned and not be able to be sold on the market. That kind of level of bad. Of course, with Activision changing stuff, screwing over the fans, like capping XP or doing things to where, like, you get less experience, so that way it forces you, entices you to pay in-game money to buy basically skins. And there's a graph online where the player base is dropping like a motherfucker. It's insane. You know, it's just, of course, Capcom and Ultimate Marvel's Capcom 3, and United States, more of those games failed miserably.
Which, by the way, we were on part with those original mistakes. RTB kind of convinced me to get up on the Marvel vs. Capcom train to get the third version when it was here, when it was making its big return on 360 and PlayStation 3, because we hadn't heard from those games in a while, and he was wanting me to get into it and kind of play with him, and that's when they started their bullshit. Not even 6 months after we had an ultimate version, and you couldn't even upgrade through DLC your original version. So thanks for the $60, asshole. Here's what we think about you as a consumer, and they just take your money and just wipe their buttocks with it, because we can't say the bad word, dang. We're gonna get demonetized, dang.
I know. Oh no.
No, I can't even say that. I gotta say hot dog, and they just gotta figure out what I mean by hot dog.
I know, but you get the point. Hell, I even got worse than it. He got the regular. I got the old special edition that came with a steel case and comic book and stuff. So I even paid more money. I got screwed over. Yeah, I know. It was fucking terrible. Oh, and by the way, you forgot. You probably didn't know this, but let's say, for example, you didn't buy the original game and you just bought Ultimate. Guess what? You still had to pay for Jill and Shin Megara.
Oh, they didn't bundle them in. Yeah, no, I didn't know that.
Nope. Just to add further insult to injury.
Well, alright then. Here's this complete version, but we're not going to quite complete it. You still got to give us $5 or $10 for Jill and Shin Megara, though. We're not that nice. It's wow.
What is up with companies lately?
They're trying their best to get a quick buck without thinking in the long term. What is getting you this money? The consumer. What's the most important thing to do to make the consumer happy? Going on with what Arc Systems is doing right now, if you're shaking and losing the customer's trust, with BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle as the example, their future projects are going to suffer, such as Dragon Ball Z Fighters, because now I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take that money I pre-ordered on it, and I'm going to go ahead and shift it over to probably, I don't know, Sword Art Fatal Bullet. They're doing some desperate stuff with their pre-order stuff. Granted, it's not nearly as scummy as the other guys. It's like a little droplet in comparison to the sea of shit that Arc Systems is kind of thinking in their head right now. And it's they've honestly had a track record with it too. Haven't they been doing some not so great stuff with Guilty Gear? From what I know, there's 3 or 4 versions of that game out or something like that.
Granted, you can upgrade to it for $20, so they did better with Capcom.
Well, I think the first initiation of it you couldn't though.
Oh, so there's that.
Yeah, there's that. Rip the owners of the original edition, which I think you're owner of the original edition, I'm pretty sure. So rip you, I'm sorry, you.
I didn't, well, you know.
But we didn't know that these companies would be taking these small, scummy, greedy tactics. And granted, it's as Jim Sterling said, that's honestly in some ways the way of the fighter and how they're released. You have the base edition, that one gets improved, there's a better version later. You're always kind of better off if you don't need that itch right now, or you're not really going to tournaments and competitive settings and getting money off of these games. You're normally better off waiting for the year of the game of the year, if I can talk, the game of the year edition version. But what we're trying to get across is, well, sure, that happens, but what Arc Systems, I think the main point, what they're doing in this case with BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, the 20 characters they already have are done. They're finished. They're complete. But they're planning another 20 for DLC, but they have about 6 months, and they could get some of those knocked down and finished, and maybe not be as scummy, and maybe get 10 of those guys finished, and then save the other 10 for DLC. Whatever they can't get finished, then they can make that extra buck off of. But they're specifically planning to sell you this half-cut game at full price, and instead of giving you more by just, making the 20 characters unlockable or whatever, no, they want to set that aside for, however much money, probably the same as the game again, so you're probably paying fucking $100 for for a fighting game when you're better off just waiting for the Gear Edition. And, you know, who's to say they'll do that with, you know, who's to say they're not doing that now, actually, with Dragon Ball Z Fighters? There's probably a lot that they already base made or whatever, and since they announced a DLC pass so far and ahead, maybe that was supposed to be in base game, but them and Namco Bandai, working off of each other's scummy evils, just decided to throw those characters to the side and make you throw extra at it. And that's not how you do things to gain the trust of a gamer and consumer. You're losing money. You're losing money from me. I mean, Namco Bandai is technically not losing money at the end of the day because they're getting it from Sword Art. But Arc Systems as a whole, I guess what I want to say is, like, the Namco Bandai will see, hey, this publisher for us, this game is not making money anymore due to what they're doing here, and then they might, you know, they'll cut them. It's like, well, your first attempt was no good on us, out the door, see you later. And then they're stuck in mediocrity again, and they don't get that push to be a main top A-tier publisher. I don't know, man. Anything you want to add to it that I might have missed? I know I've been kind of rambling on. Hopefully I'm getting my point across. Muy caliente, muy hot, very hot, much hot.
So basically, guys, what me and Koopa are trying to say is that you gotta do things the right way. And it's funny how people are saying how the Japanese developer is behind. I laugh at that, especially now this past year. If you saw my top 10 games list, like, out of my top 5 alone, 4 of the games that on that list was Japanese. You know, Resident Evil, Persona, Breath of the Wild, and Mario. The only one that was American was Injustice. So I'm going to show that these are Japanese companies with their games. They're doing things right. You know what I'm saying? They're behind on other things, like with the whole YouTube and monetization situation, but they're making the games right and making you want to buy them.
They're behind on the aspects of the outside the game, but they're still keeping what's inside the game, you know, a whole product, and keeping the consumer game-wise happy. You know, the advertisement outside and how they handle things on the outside, they're behind on that. But when it comes to, like, the game is a finished whole product that's not, like, gouging you for more money, they're keeping their distance with that. They're not crossing boundaries they should not.
Exactly. At the end of the day, I feel bad for Arc System because they made great fighting games. The Guilty Gear game I played is phenomenally fun. I even did a review on it on my channel if you want to look it up. But it's just one of those things that looks beautiful, well polished, well done. But it's just one of those things that people are not gonna look past that. They see the scumminess behind it. But look at, like, for example, Star Wars Battlefront 2. The game looks beautiful as hell. It looks and feels like Star Wars. But the problem is the combination of not only the loot system and you know, and the loot progression system, the whole, there was like a whole bunch of glitches as well. I mean, there's a lot of like crashing and bugs. I mean, it just felt like a rushed product. You know what I'm saying? Slash one of like gambling thing to get money. And some people saying, oh, that's not gambling. Yes, it is, because when, like, for example, I asked Cooper, when you put money into Dokkan and you get shit things, does that feel like you got nothing? Even though you're getting stuff, but doesn't it feel like you got nothing for it?
Especially when you put the expectations. I set them low too. I'm just like, okay, out of all these guys, I just want either this person, or this person. I'll be happy. You've seen from my videos, if you watch them, I've gotten like nothing hardly. I think the only, besides the one where I was talking about the life, the only one that was passable was like the guaranteed Janemba, and even then I was just so defeated throughout the whole thing that he didn't even matter at that point. But no, yeah, it feels like crap to the point, like, you guys haven't seen like the video that broke the camel's back, but that game's not getting no more money from me.
So that's the point. Like, it is gambling, and now legal action is being taken against it, and now EA's suffering for it. Same thing, but it's with Arc System. I mean, they gotta be doing loot stuff, but they're doing old school shit. But it's old school shit that it's still shit. You know what I'm saying? That nobody wants and asks for.
It's nothing per se that'll get them into legal amounts of trouble like what EA is doing, but it's enough to besmirk and ruin their reputation that they will not make that quick money that they're so craving, and then there won't be an Arc Systems anymore.
And it's sad because they're extremely talented. They make beautiful games, and they're well-balanced fighters. And it's not even buggy at all. It's a well-produced game. But it's too bad about people behind the scenes or in the team itself. I'm not sure that it's making these greedy, dumb decisions. In the long run, yeah, in the short term, yeah, those look great. But in the long run, it's going to hurt them. Like, look at, I want to go back to this real quick. WCW. For wrestling fans, they were the hot wrestling product. It can do no wrong. In fact, for a while in the ratings, at least I think 72 weeks or 48 weeks, I'm not sure. But for a good amount of weeks, they were beating WWE's ass in the ratings. But eventually, thanks to Vince Russo and plus other...
Oh, no, you said ass. We can't be mind tying anymore.
Gives a crap. Anyway, because of all the concept, again, Vince Russo and all the bad decisions from the company, they eventually lost the ratings. You know what I'm saying? In fact, them spoiling the ending to that Mankind, a.k.a. Mick Foley, become champion, beating The Rock. A lot of people switched over to see that, and that ended up being their downfall. and everyone beat the ratings against WWE since, and pretty soon they went out of business and got bought by Vince McMahon. So if you think
Eric Bischoff would have saw that spoilers maybe I shouldn't do that this night. That actually sounds like something really awesome that people would want to switch over to. I don't think I'm gonna do my usual spiel tonight.
Right? Seriously. Well, not him, but he tells that. Sometimes he does it himself, but sometimes he'll tell the commentators to say it for him too.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just saying, if he was the one who had that idea, he should have looked over what spoilers it was and been like, this sounds like kind of awesome. I don't think I want to tell people that.
Yeah. So in fact, he had that awesome Hell in a Cell match against the Undertaker before that, so he was he had that high point. He's a superstar at that point because of that damn match. Point. You get my point, guys. I know I'm into wrestling, but you get my point. They were a company that thought they was invincible. Now they're an afterthought. Same thing with other the taxi industry. They thought they're invincible, and then Uber showed up, and now it's kicking their ass. Now they're losing a lot of money. So there's always that competition around the corner that's willing to chop at the bit and want what you got. Willing to eat, willing to eat soup with their hands. They're hungry. They want that kind of shit that they're getting, and they'll take it too. Trust me. There'll be another developer, unknown developer that makes the Dragon Ball Z game just as good, if not better, and then take what you have, and you could have been in that same spot fine if you just made a product that people wanted. Like Horizon Zero Dawn did it right, for example. They just focused on the game itself, and since it did well enough, they pushed more for DLC since the game did well enough. Same thing with Xenoverse 2. They had no plans for DLC, according to Koopa told me. Since it sold so well, they did all this extra stuff. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Just focus on the game first. The money will come. And if you want to do DLC afterwards, then go right ahead. But you gotta earn the consumer's trust first. And especially now, this is the worst time to do scummy shit like that. Considering the fact that what EA and Activision's doing, people are in pissed off mode right now. And it's not dying down because Activision and EA is still tripping over their feet and still doing dumb shit consistently. You know what I'm saying? So this is not the time to piss off fans.
And then again, the best time to show that you don't care for these kind of practices, and I think Angry Joe iterates this point, is to talk with your wallet. Don't give them anything for it, like what I'm doing with Dokkan. I don't like the shit rates that they're giving me, and the cards I keep getting are complete crap. It's not getting nothing from me anymore. Same thing with this, with BlazBlue Cross Tag. We don't want these companies at the end to fall on their feet and fail. We want them to succeed. I want them to make future games I like an ultimate cross tag battle where freaking Dizzy and Yang team up to beat the likes of Goku Black from killing off the Persona world. I don't know. But the point is that you gotta speak with your wallet. You can't, hey, you're fucking me over with, no loop. Here, have a 50. Thank you for the nothing that you've given me. So just take that in mind. I know DBZ Fighters is a nice and shiny game, but I just implore all of you, with kind of the rocky track arc systems going in, if they don't decide to like change what they're doing for Cross, and if they don't, you know, if they do not so good stuff with Fighters, don't support it. But if they do come to their senses somehow and they have a revelation that what they're doing is wrong, and they, you know, change up the thing for Cross Tag, and they're not so scummy with Fighters, and they actually bring down the DLC season pass price, then you know what? They've done good. They earn your money. They've earned your money at that point, since they've met the demands and needs of the consumer, and are not just thinking about what's in your wallet, not the person who has the wallet. And I think I'm gonna leave it at that, unless you want to add with one last little thing.
Again, like, for example, here's a good example that it charged a lot. I think Killer Instinct charged between $20 to $25, I think $30, but they gave you a whole bunch of characters, plus another game itself. For example, the Season 1, the game cost like $20 to $30, but they gave you like 8 characters, all their costumes, and the first game. They did the same price for the second one, 8 characters, all their costumes, the second game, and you could play online with the second game. So they did a lot of things to make you entice you to buy, Killer Instinct, and their passes. Where DBZ Fighters, like you mentioned, it's just fighters. There's nothing like another story mode afterward or anything extra that makes it enticing. It's just characters. That's a lot for just playing characters. No offense, especially like Koopa mentioned, unless they're fighter people you never played before, they're most likely to be people we played already in previous Dragon Ball Z games. Not in this style, but still.
Yeah, you'll end up just paying again for, like, as much as I love him, Janemba, or as much as I hate him, Broly, or just the movie characters like that. And granted, they haven't been translated in this form before, but it's like, we've had how many Dragon Ball Z games to play as all of these guys? Some more times than others, but you get my point.
Yeah. If you want to play these people, play Budokai 3 or Ultimate Tenkaichi 3.
Yeah, Ultimate Tenkaichi 3. Yeah, that's the biggest toy box game. You can even play as people that you don't think you can play as. You just name me a character and I can tell you, yep, they're playable. Dr. Wheelo, yep, he's playable. Generic Pilaf robot machine that can bind together, yep, he's playable.
Yep, so, that's what I gotta say. I said my piece.
But. Alright, so I guess we're done with here about our little rave and rant on what naughtiness that Arc is trying to start us off with on 2018. Any final words? I'll let you end this off here, because I'm always bad with the outros.
Alright, guys. Like Koopa said before, if you don't like what they're doing, speak with your wallet. Trust me. Trust me. Those companies, when they lose money, they will listen. Believe me. Alright, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. I always read them. And of course, please make sure to rate, comment, subscribe. As well as Rocket Blade signing out with Koopa. Hope to see you guys again real soon. Peace out and have a great day.